On this episode of the Mad Rush podcast.
If you want to stay within your budget, don't invite more people. I mean, it happens all the time. And then we're back at, sacrificing something because you don't have the budget, but decreasing your guest size so you don't have to sacrifice. People start to evaluate who's been in my life, who's been in my circle. That's who I want at my wedding. I don't want, an extended list of people that I don't speak to, that I don't have a relationship with.
Welcome to the Mad Rush podcast. I'm Trisha Addicks, the original sorority rush consultant. While the stories I have to share are nothing short of astonishing, this podcast goes beyond the wild client tales and sorority life. I'll be engaging with fascinating guests from both within and outside the Greek world, uncovering the surprising connections that bind us all together. Join me for a journey that's as entertaining as it is enlightening. Welcome to Mad Rush. Today I have a rock star on this podcast. I'm super excited. I always say that word, but I always am very excited to hear everything she has to say. This is Emily Burton of Emily Burton Designs. Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you for having me.
So, again, if you listen to this podcast, it's all about connections. And Emily and I met at my goddaughter Hannah's wedding, and we'll get more into that. I mean, it was absolutely stunning what she did and created this experience for all of us that was really next level. But we just hit it off like immediately. And then as we're like walking around, I was like, wait, anyway, Emily has planned so many of my friends' weddings. She's currently planning someone in my inner circle's wedding, and she's amazing. So I'm so excited to hear all the things from you. I am currently in what I'm calling my wedding season. I'm actually attending more weddings now than I did when I was at wedding age because my kids' friends are getting married, and I love this. I love this season, and I love, watching these kids that I've seen grow up, experience this and find the loves of their lives. And you do such a great job with planning all of them. Anyway, so I would love to find out what drew you to event planning and how that journey began for you.
That is a great question. Honestly, I never saw myself here in this position, but it's funny how life has twists and turns and we end up where we're supposed to be. Or I like to think of it that way. So I was a University of Georgia graduate.
Go Dogs. We just eked out a victory.
Kicked butt.
Well, I don't know about kicked butt.
Well, we won. That's enough, right?
Yes. I was there. It was scary.
So I graduated with a design degree. I worked actually as a kitchen and bath designer for residential, and then I kind of segued into commercial children's dentistry design, which is a very niche market.
Wow, yeah.
We're talking like custom aquariums, built-in zoo-themed dentist offices in the Atlanta area.
Wait, it was my kid's dentist, and it had like the zoo theme, and then there were little game consoles that were in the wall?
Probably. There were a lot of different themed dentist offices in the Atlanta area, so probably. But love all aspects of design. That was my degree. Lo and behold, 2008 happened. The market crashed. I walked in on a Friday, was told to pack my things as a senior designer at a firm. So my world was really flipped upside down, and I didn't know what I was going to do. I ended up taking a 100% sales job commission, selling insurance. Absolutely hated it. But during that time, I met my wonderful boyfriend at the time, Dave, who is now my husband for 15 years. He was like the knight in shining armor that kind of swept me away. And anyways, we got married. To speed the story up, we got married moved down to the St. Simons Island area, and I was still working my sales job. I think I came home every day crying because I hated it. And he was like, oh my gosh, like, why don't you just quit your job and do whatever it is that makes you happy? What is that? And I was like, design. That is what I truly felt like God created me to do, is be a designer. It's what I eat, sleep, and breathe. I'm always analyzing a space or a place, or if I'm watching a movie, sometimes I'm not really watching the movie. I'm watching how balanced the space is in the background, or if the colors are right, or what I could do better. So I ended up quitting my job, and I launched Emily Burton Designs, which was under a different name. And at the time, we did everything. We were a one-stop shop. We actually did our own in-house flowers. So I did that for about 6 years, doing everything. Again, planning, event design, and floral design. And I won a lot of competitions doing that. So that was really the launch of Emily Burton Designs.
Okay, so the whole time you're talking, I'm thinking you said you were a kitchen designer at one point, and I'm like, ding, ding, and bathroom, ding, 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 ding. So we are very fortunate to have a house down there, as you know. And the house was built in 1999, has not been updated since 1999. And the amount of time that we spend down there, the space is just really not working for me. So not free labor, but could you take a look at it and let me know what you see for the vision?
I would love to. Yes.
See, I would love your vision for it, because my husband and I, who both have no clue about design, we're like, maybe we should have a coffee bar here. I mean, right now the pressing need is appliances that work, but I would love it. Ooh, I'm excited to know that. So you've mentioned to me before that building a company where you could provide opportunities for other young women has been a lifelong dream. So what inspired that vision for you?
I feel like there was really two things that inspired me. One was being a devastated young woman, losing my own job, and, feeling like I was helpless. I didn't live near my family at the time. I had just bought a home. I was on my own, and I had to pay the mortgage. So that would be definitely what led to the inspiration behind me wanting to grow a large company. And the next thing was, honestly, my sister, she went through a pretty hard divorce, and I saw her struggle as a young single mother. And, I would always just call her on the phone and say, hey, I need an extra hand. She would, reply, I could use extra money. And I just loved being able to help, even if it was for a season, even if it was for 2 events, knowing that I could give back to the community, in a different way, was just very heartwarming. And I felt like it was so nice seeing somebody have the ability to get on their toes or buy an extra Christmas gift for the person they loved.
I love that. And you're empowering so many people. And it's really a gift that you have to do that for people. And how many people work for you currently?
Currently, I have about 12 people, and that does include subcontractors and also some full-time people.
That's a lot of people, especially on a small island.
Yes. And the number changes, from season to season. We have peak season, which is spring and fall, and then we have off-peak season. And the great thing is, people that commit to me, it's just a committal based on an event per event basis, not for the year, not for 6 months. So kind of as they want or need the money.
So that brings up a really good point. A great friend of mine is a caterer and event planner in Charlotte, and she has a really hard time sometimes staffing events because, like you just said, sometimes they don't need money. So they're like, I don't want to do it. Or sometimes, so that's a particular challenge, I would imagine, for you.
Absolutely. I feel like post-COVID, honestly, that is probably the biggest challenge that our industry faces right now.
Right. And I do think, I didn't say that it was post-COVID, but for sure, that's That's what she said. And, it's become, that's a big hurdle from her. So I would love to talk about, many of our listeners are going to be planning events, whether it's weddings, like I said, we're in a stage where or graduation parties. So let's talk about, if someone has a wedding planner, or an event planner, what does the proper etiquette look like between a planner and your clients throughout the planning process?
Well, first of all, I think establishing the proper expectations between both parties, and understanding the level of communication and how that person communicates. You have to have that foundation before you can even get into the planning aspect. And obviously the proper budget. If you're not understanding the budget, you're not understanding how each person communicates, meaning me as a planner and you as the client, then you're not going to kick off the planning experience well at all. I feel like we live in such a fast-paced world. A lot of my clients have the expectation, they come in, they book me, they kind of really want to be a silent partner, if you will, and they trust me to build the vision, manage the budget. They basically want to show up, and that's great. But you can't just chime in a month before and then want to have all this input, right? I love that my clients trust me. Again, I think having the proper understanding of level of communication, how involved they want to be, and the budget, that is going to set you up for success for a wonderful planning process, no matter who you work with.
Yeah, that's really good. A really good point. And the trust. So Hannah, my goddaughter, you guys had some things thrown at you last minute.
Yes.
And she trusted that you would handle it, and you did. And she said to me afterwards, she said, when I was working with Emily, it was, I was like about to freak out. And she was like, I got it. You're not worrying about this. I got this. And you did. And she said that gave her such freedom to enjoy her wedding and to not stress about the small stuff because you were. So you may not have been stressing about it, but you were handling it. So that's a really cool thing, which leads me to, do you have any, and if you don't, that's okay, but do you have any stories of things when things went crazy awry and you had to fix it?
Yes, of course. One day I'm going to write a book, maybe.
I think you should.
Obviously, all of the clients' names,
of course, be changed to protect the innocent or not so innocent.
Absolutely.
For my book, it's the same thing. I have some crazy client stories, and I'm like, okay, I'm changing the name, the location.
You have pet names or whatever. But yes, I think the craziest story thus far, oh gosh, I feel like it's so hard to determine on what level of crazy. The craziest weather story is we were marsh front. I was conducting the ceremony. Literally had everybody lined up. The reception was like a football field away, but the way that the property was laid out, you could hear everything on the other end if you weren't quiet.
Wait, what do you mean you could hear everything if you weren't quiet?
So whatever was going on in the tent, if you were at the reception, because it was kind of like
You mean like the tent where you guys were working?
We were at the ceremony site and we had other vendors setting up for the reception in the tent, which is like a football field away.
Sorry, that's on me. I was very confused about the location and who was doing what in what tent. Okay, got it.
So I'm sending the bride down the aisle and I could feel a vibration. Obviously, it's my watch. I looked at it and it said 911. I was like, crap. So anytime in our industry you get 911, that's an emergency. So as soon as I got the bride down the aisle, I stepped away. Long story short, we had a little funnel cloud that was big enough to pick up the side of the tent, picked up the bar back, slung it into the bar back. All of the glasses crashed into a million pieces. But I will say the reason that a planner is a control freak and likes to have a solid team in place is because my team, my assistants, and the bartenders that I hired, they knew my expectations and they said, don't worry about it. We've got this. When I walked into the tent, which usually when I'm conducting a ceremony and if we have a tent wedding, I make my rounds, or I'll do a circle and make sure everything is picture perfect before the bride, we announce her to come in. And I made my rounds and I was just so proud. And I was like, I can't even tell anything happened. And it just, reiterated, this is why you're a control freak and you like to work with who you like to work with, because they become an extension of you and they're going to get the job done. And if they don't, they're not on my preferred vendor list.
Nice. Yeah. And that's very much, I have a bunch of mentors, not a bunch, but I have mentors who work for me. And I love that you say that they're an extension of me.
Absolutely.
The expectation that I have is that we're going to provide the most up to date knowledge. And we're really going to spend our time making sure that the experience, so there are a lot of correlations. The experience that our clients have is not stressful as much as it can be. I mean, it is rush. So, that's stressful by design, but also so is planning an event.
It can be, for sure. I like to think that I'm the calm to whatever storm is in their life, which I also feel like, that just reiterates what you do on your end. And even if things are stressful on the back end, we hold it together and we don't let them know, because that is what they hire us to do.
Yeah, that's a really good point. There are a lot of times when I'm a duck, underwater, my feet are going crazy, but I'm like, you
feel like you're drowning, help. But you're like, no, I've got this. I'm taking care of it. You hired me. They don't know what's going on behind the scenes. I mean, there could be a hurricane, monsooning rain, 32-degree weather. But hey, I've got it under control. Don't you worry.
Yeah,
right?
And you're very good at that. And I believe that is one of my gifts, is the calm, because when you want someone who's a beacon during any stressful situation. Okay, so, and I hope that this doesn't put you on the spot, but I feel like it's so second nature. A lot of people listening are going to be planning graduation parties. And like everything else in the world at this point in our world, and with Instagram and everything seems to be amped up. Do you have any suggestions for what can make, it doesn't have to be specific, like buy this sign, but something that can help them elevate their graduation parties and make them celebrations that are to be remembered, as well as celebrations that aren't going to completely break the bank, and if, within a certain budget? Or tips to make an event special. That was a very long-winded way of saying tips to make an event special no matter the budget, because they are going to be photographed. It's, the Instagram photos, all the things.
Right. With any event, especially graduation, I think people always have to remember, don't try to recreate what somebody else has. Don't try to copy and paste what you see on Pinterest. The event is about you. And that is where you make it extra special and extra different, is making it about you. What do you love? What do you like to eat? What do you like to listen to? What are your favorite textures and colors? The thing that I love is there are no rules in today's world of 2025. You can do what you want to do as long as it's executed well and you have a great plan and it's presented well. So I would say be yourself. And that's the most important thing through anything in life, not just with your event, is be yourself.
I agree completely. The authenticity. And I was looking, I guess it was last week, and I was like, I saw somebody who has this great brand presence, and on Instagram, I was in particular, and I was like, oh, maybe I should start doing posts like that. And I was like, wait, it's not me. It's not going to resonate. And it's not, I feel like leaning into who you are, but that's interesting for an event too. So that's very interesting because I've planned events before where I haven't liked any of the food, or I haven't, and I'm not saying that, I have to like all of the food, but I think that's a cool thing to lean into what you love and what makes you unique, even for an event. So that's super cool. You did that. So Hannah, she's going to be like, why the heck are you talking about my wedding?
I love Hannah. They were so sweet to work with.
Hannah grew up in Bainbridge Island, Seattle. So she had a very different, not different, but very unique.
Fashion and fishing was like what she loved.
Oh, wow. That's interesting.
That was like the premise of her entire concept. I love high fashion, and the thing that I love to do with my father more than anything is fly fishing. I love the outdoors. And, when I first heard that, I was like, I love this because I'm an outdoors person myself. That's where I really get all of my inspiration. But I had never, designed with that combination. And she had a lot of specific criteria on top of the fashion and fishing that she wanted incorporated. So
like what? Well, she wanted to incorporate Jack. I know her friend who passed away.
She did. Hummingbirds, to be reminiscent of Jack and their special bond. And then she had very specific colors. She liked more of the muted greens and browns and wheat colors, but she wanted to incorporate yellow. Yellow was very significant, but she didn't want too much of it. So finding the proper balance of all of that was really important to me. I want a client to come in and I want it to take their breath away. And I want it to be like, this is so me and Jack. And that's what she said. And I love that.
So you brought up something. So for you guys listening, my goddaughter Hannah's one of her very best friend, or if not her very best friend, passed away in an accident in Europe. And hummingbirds reminded her, and she believes that Jack sends her signs from hummingbirds. And that brings me to the signs thing. There's so many signs. I mean, signs that you and I should be friends. Signs. I see signs everywhere. I saw signs this past weekend when I ran into a friend of mine from college, and it's just crazy. And when we were down there, I don't even know if hummingbirds are native to St. Simon's, but she saw a hummingbird that weekend.
Okay, so I haven't shared this with her yet. I was thumbing through my pictures, and I promise you there's a picture where they don't even know that I'm filming. I'm kind of filming behind the photographer, kind of like on an off-road, and it's Hannah and Jack in the group, and you see this little teeny flutter.
Ooh, I just got chills.
There's nothing that flutters that fast, and it's tiny, but it's flying behind them, and I've got to share it with her. But you just gave me chill bumps that you said, like, a lot of people, I don't feel like they believe in signs, but I do. And when you just said that, and about like us connecting, and then about Hannah, it's so true.
Yeah, I see signs all the time, and I haven't figured out, because this podcast is listened to more than it's a video, and I have the craziest signs thing that happened. I want to share it, but I don't know how to do that because it needs a picture, because it's whatever the evidence. But I met a woman on an airplane coming back from New York, actually, when I went to visit Simon & Schuster, and we were sitting next to each other and we were talking, and she had lost her son. It was actually a year ago, this October 26th, and we're recording this on November 3rd. But she told me about this book, Signs, and
I need to get it.
Yeah, I was about to say, I'll send it to you. She sent it to me. And just the signs that you're in the right place at the right time, or you're with the right people. And I see evidence of it every single day. And it's something I believe in so strongly. But that picture with the flutter, I mean,
I'll have to text it to you just so you can see it. I had to watch it like 5 times.
were you just, wow, she is going to lose it.
I feel like I got emotional because I could tell how emotional Hannah was. Just like the day, equal parts, so happy, and also, little moments of sadness that Jack wasn't there.
Yes, absolutely. And you all did such a great job of incorporating Jack into the ceremony. Speaking of the ceremony, y'all, this is hilarious. So like I said, she grew up on Bainbridge Island, which is right outside of Seattle. And Seattle's known for rain. So we're sitting there in the ceremony. She wanted to have it outside. And that was another sign. She wanted to get married and did get married at the same church that my son Michael and his wife Maggie got married, and where her grandfather was I don't know if you call it the rector or the minister, but that was where he was buried. And we saw so many signs their wedding weekend that her grandparents were there, which was one of them was there was this insane storm on St. Simon's Island. And if you ask anyone who was at this ceremony, and you see the radar from that ceremony.
It was wild.
There's only one dot on all of the island that did not get rain, like epic rain. And it was that church. So yeah, I'll have to share that radar picture, because that's also another picture. But so at Hannah and Jack's wedding, it started raining, and the ceremony was outdoors. And I was like, oh no.
I know. I'm like in the back, like, how is it going to go to monsoon? Like at what point is this going to stop? I'm analyzing crap. If it's going to go to monsooning rain, I mean, I have umbrellas, but they're in the car. I'm going to have to run and get them. I was just crossing my fingers and saying a prayer because Hannah wanted everything outside. I was like, it's just got to clear up.
But the funniest thing was there was a group of people who I've now connected with, and we keep in touch because they're hilarious. They're Hannah's age. But all of the rest of us that weren't from Seattle were really freaked out about this. And he's like, half the guests here don't even notice it's raining because they're from Seattle. And it made me feel so much.
I've never even thought about that.
Yeah, it made me feel so much better because like they didn't even really notice. None of them. And it wasn't pouring, but I was like, I was holding the program over. What do you call that? Is it a program? Anyway, holding it over my head. But like I cracked up. I was like, you know what? They don't even notice. And oh my gosh, that's hilarious. So looking ahead, do you see any trends for weddings or events? Or I'm assuming that you keep up with like trying to be ahead of the trends, like you said, make things unique. But do you see anything trending in the future for events and design?
I do. I think smaller weddings are going to come back around. Smaller, more intimate, just well-designed, more elopements.
Why do you think that is?
The instability of the economy currently, the fluctuation, the design, the amount of care and the attention to detail. I feel like that's only going to be more specific and increase. I think people start to evaluate who's been in my life, who's been in my circle. That's who I want at my wedding. I don't want, an extended list of people that I don't speak to, that I don't have a relationship with. So really dialing in and having an event that just has your immediate circle, being able to focus more on the specific details, having the best wine and having, if you want caviar and a 3-course meal, why not? Not sacrificing something because you don't have the budget, but decreasing your guest size so you don't have to sacrifice. And that's what I say. I feel like, that's what I say from a broken record standpoint to all of my clients.
Oh, I'm going to start using that, from a broken record standpoint. all you people who are listening, that is going to be my new catchphrase. I will credit Emily.
If you want to stay within your budget, don't invite more people. I mean, it happens all the time. And then we're back at, we're having a budget conversation.
I feel like that is a huge hurdle, especially between the parents and, especially if the mom has a specific idea of what they want the wedding to be, whether it's, their entire Mahjong group or,
yes.
or everyone who they've been in business with for years. And then I feel like sometimes maybe correct me if I'm wrong, some of the things that make it special and unique have to go away because...
Absolutely. But, I know that it feels like you're being violated when a planner asks for your budget, but it's not so we can max out your budget.
Well, that's a good point.
It is so we can really understand, is what you're communicating to us realistic within your budget? One, can it be achieved? Because personally, for me, if it can't, I'm going to communicate that up front.
Right.
We have one shot at getting the planning process, the event design process, no matter what party it is or wedding, right. And, I'm not going to start off with, oh yes, we can definitely do that in your budget. My goal is to always under promise and overachieve, not over promise and underachieve.
Have you ever seen, again, you don't have to use names, dates, protect the innocent, but have you ever seen people that have tried to hide budgets from their spouses or whatever?
Yes. The biggest places that people like to hide the budget is from dads. There are many times, I'm telling you a little inside secret, that we have multiple budget sheets that we share. Some for the mom and the bride and some for the dad.
Oh, that's hilarious. So the show I'm on right now that's streaming on Hulu it was another Rush consultant, and they're talking, her clients are talking, and the interviewer asks something about, was it worth it to have a Rush consultant? And the girl said, or was it worth the cost? And the girl looks at her mom, she goes, is Dad watching?
No, it's true. It's true.
And I also think I see this in my business. It's something that is not cheap.
No.
But you get what you pay for. Free. I'm talking about you and me. And
it's like an insurance plan.
And I also think the importance of doing it right, regardless of, again, that's why I write the book, because not everyone can afford to do this. And it's why you should write a book. But not everyone can afford a Rush consultant. But regardless of what your budget is, doing it right and doing it uniquely you is so important.
I agree. And, diving into that a little bit more, when I was planning my wedding, I was living in Atlanta, planning a wedding down here on St. Simon's Island. And I saw my mother. I didn't feel like she could even be my mom for my wedding day.
Right.
And that's like the biggest other reasoning behind hiring an expert is let your mom be your mom. Your mom wants to be your mom. Your aunt wants to be your aunt. Your friends want to show up and be your friends. The other thing is, if your mom or your aunt or your friend doesn't exceed or meet your expectations, you can't be pissed at them.
Right.
At the end of the day, you still have to have a relationship with them. You can be mad at me,
right,
and you can walk away, or you can be mad at whoever you hire. Now, that's not an option for me because I want to excel.
Same.
But your family and your friends, they're there because they want to see you and they want to relax. There's a lot more involved than anyone ever expects or imagines. And for that reason, it's easier for everybody if you hire a professional.
I could not have said it better myself. And that is such an important, especially in such a joyful time as a wedding or finding your people in Rush, and getting to the end can sometimes be super stressful, and straining that relationship. I hate to see that.
Yeah, I do too.
It is not good. Well, any last minute. So I used to do this thing and I'm going to do it again. And you're going to be mad if because I didn't warn you. I used to warn people.
No, you didn't.
She's scared. So
I'm like, should I duck and run now?
you should duck and run. So Bama Rush Talk popularized the phrase hashtag OOTD outfit of the day, but I'm repurposing it for Mad Rush. So do you have a hashtag observation of the day? And it could be anything. It could be that you hate daylight savings, which is really throwing me for a loop. Any observation. And if you don't, that's okay, because I usually give people a little warning, but I didn't.
I'm so analytical, I would have to think about that.
So that could be...
Hashtag analyzing.
Yes, hashtag analyzing.
That's what I'm always doing. So there you have it.
That's good. Well, thank you so much for being here. This was amazing. And how can listeners find you?
The best way to find me and all of our updated designs is on Instagram at Emily Burton Designs.
Yeah, you guys need to follow. I'm obsessed with her Instagram. And I look at it, and I don't really have the time or bandwidth to... I spend a lot of time doing my Instagram, but I don't really spend a lot of time looking at others. And that is one that I make the time for because it's...
Thank you.
It's really special. So, and you're really special. And I'm so glad that we have created this friendship and look forward to it for years to come.
Absolutely. That was a sign.
That was a sign. Welcome to Timeout with Tricia. Because can you really give advice if you don't speak about yourself in the third person? I don't think so. This is exactly how I speak to my clients. The good, the bad, and the ugly. So listen to me. I know what I'm talking about. Now let's get into it. Okay, so as you are starting to think about where you're going to go to college and if you're going to go through Rush, and if you're listening to this timeout, you probably are, I want you to start working on creating your conversation skills. And I talk about this in my book, but I'm going to give you a few things to start doing now so this becomes second nature when you are in Rush. And so first off, during conversations, before and during them, breathe. Try the 4-7-8 technique. Inhale for 4, hold for 7, exhale for 8. Focus on your feet touching the ground or notice 5 things you can see around you to stay present when anxiety arises. Listen, and oh my gosh, broken record, you need to practice your listening. So practice active listening by focusing genuinely on what the other person is saying rather than planning your response. This is why at It's All Greek to Me, we do not give scripts for Rush. This takes the pressure off of you to constantly generate conversation, and listening often makes interactions flow more naturally. Ask follow-up questions about what they've shared. People usually appreciate genuine interest. Prepare. This is different than a script. Think of a few go-to conversation topics beforehand, like current events, shared interest, or simple questions about the other person's day or experiences. Having these mental conversation starters ready can reduce the panic of awkward silences. Start small. Begin with lower stakes interactions like chatting with cashiers or making small talk with your neighbors. These brief, structured exchanges can help build confidence for longer conversations. It's not you. Cam said that in her podcast. Remember that most people are focused on themselves and aren't analyzing your every word or what you're wearing. Give yourself permission to have imperfect conversations. Stumbling over words or having brief, quiet moments is completely normal. Look open, maintain open posture and gentle eye contact when comfortable. Sometimes focusing on these basics can help you feel more grounded and confident. Exit strategy. Know that it's okay to politely excuse yourself if you need a break. Having this option can actually reduce anxiety because you know you're not trapped in the situation. Practice, 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 and it will become second nature, and you have many months to do this before Rush starts. And that's it for Time Out with Trisha. We'll see you on another episode of the Mad Rush Podcast. Thank you for tuning in to another episode of the Mad Rush Podcast. If you are enjoying this podcast, please consider leaving us a 5-star review. For additional Rush tips, updates, and more, please follow me on Instagram at Rush with Confidence. If you would like to reach out to us or for more information, please email info@madrushpod.com. This podcast is produced by Collier Landry and Don't Touch My Radio. Copyright Trisha Addicks.